Hey, I wanted to share an epiphany that I had, not this morning, but yesterday morning at about 4 o'clock. All of these things started to click and make sense. And I'm in a couple different mastermind and mentorship groups. And kind of the theme of them has been working on our inner landscape to get external results in business or just in life, I guess, to spark our creativity. And one of the themes was boundaries. And I thought, well, I have pretty good boundaries, I thought, but I'll explore this. And what I discovered was I have a very big and tight boundary around myself, that I'm not, in trying to protect myself from negative energies, from being made fun of, from all of those fears that keep me from really stepping into my creativity and being visible, that I really created like a boundary that was a cocoon that seemed like it was keeping me safe. But this epiphany that I had, it was like, oh my gosh, well, that's keeping me from being able to expand and being able to step into more of these spaces that I want to hold and offer. And so I know sometimes when I talk about things afterwards, it doesn't seem like such a big deal. And of course, these things are always easier to see with somebody else than with myself. That's why, I don't know for how many years I've said that I won't take lessons from a riding instructor that doesn't take lessons, and I won't hire a therapist or a coach that isn't themselves in therapy or being coached. And along with recognizing that sometimes I limit myself came this kind of conjoint idea of holding space. And holding space is something that I've heard about, again, for years because it's a very well-used term in therapeutic circles, especially when there's more of a spiritual or a connected overtone to those things, or holistic maybe is what I should say. And I will admit that I kind of downplayed the significance of holding space. And it hit me in this 4 a.m. epiphany that holding space isn't something that everybody can do. I mean, they can do it. Not everybody knows how to do it or isn't practiced in it. And that's why sometimes I would kind of not see the value in it so much, because it's like, well, yeah, that's just something that because of my teaching background, my counseling background, coaching background, I think being an eternal student, it's something that kind of evolved naturally without me having to pay a lot of specific attention to it. I think a lot of the inner work that I've done has allowed me to be able to hold space for other people. And I think it's actually one of the things that makes how we work with our horses. Oh, there's a cardinal over there. My daughter would call that my favorite redbird, so that must be a good sign. Anyhow, we hold a space for our horses too and allow them to make that choice, invite them to step into that space. I think probably for at least 8 years I've talked about that I like to hold open this sacred place of possibility for people. And again, I just didn't click that thing about holding space. And I feel that it goes right into, when I have that tight cocoon of a boundary because I'm so scared to be visible, or that, people might throw stones at me or something. Not only does it stop me from being able to reach the people that I would really like to, or that could really benefit from some of these things that I know and I can share, but it doesn't allow me to hold any space. And recognizing too that there are a few teachers, and I'm thinking more, well, there's therapists too that aren't as well versed in holding space, and there's a lot of riding instructors and clinicians that aren't as well versed in this holding space. And sometimes they have really, really good stuff to share, but for someone like me who is highly sensitive off the charts, it can be a real challenge, I think, if I'm not holding my own space, to be able to learn from them effectively, because I'm either taking things personally, or one of the things that I recognized about myself is I really need a roadmap. Big picture, that's me. I need to understand the whole concept, and then these little pieces will make sense. And whether or not that's unique to me, or again just an epiphany that might seem obvious to everyone else, I thought, okay, so if whomever I'm learning from doesn't paint a big picture, then if I'm going to hold space for my own learning, it's up to me to ask for that big picture. And I think going hand in hand with creativity, we can be more creative when we feel safe, or when we feel like the risk isn't going to end our lives. And okay, so I might be exaggerating a little bit, but there's risk in creativity, and if we know that there's a space, a sacred space, or a safe space for us to step into, I think that really locks into that being able to access our creativity, which our imagination, our intuition are so closely linked, that I think a lot of it is, if I can say, divine inspiration, but we're in touch with our authenticity, our divinity, our essence. And so I'm now, of course, I'm going to go back and research a little bit more about holding space, because I did a very quick Google search on my phone and found that there were some articles actually written on it. And I think that it would be a great thing to help people be able to hold space a little more effectively for themselves, and maybe for other people too. And I think being able to offer that to the horses could be a way to help teach people how to do that, and then we can all spread it out and be more peaceful, more creative, and happier. So that's the big thing that I wanted to share, because I'm guessing that holding space is something that, I know it's one of those things that we can layer. And so we'll think we got it and we're holding a great space, and then it's like, oh, well, yes, maybe I can do that again here. So I want to encourage you to hold open for yourself that great space of possibility. And sometimes we might need help to be able to see it, or to be able to hold it, or to be able to believe in it. But that's why we were put here in communities, right? To be able to help each other. And speaking of that, I am going to hold myself accountable to this group, because I've had a couple things that I've thought about offering quite a lot. And I haven't written them down or scheduled them yet. And I was thinking a little bit about patterns and habits during this, lying awake yesterday morning at 4 o'clock. And not saying that I won't still take changes to overcome it, but I will be patient with myself as I do so, because something maybe interesting about me, I was a preemie. I was born 2.5 months early. So, only 6.5 months in my mom's womb. And so clearly I was like, out, now. And interestingly enough, I was also a forceps baby. So it was like, yes, I want to go. Oh my God, no, I don't. And I still have that pattern a lot today. And so I am going to, today's Wednesday, by Friday, I'm going to schedule 2 workshops that I have been thinking about doing. One is going to be on Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Big Magic, that has a lot to do with creativity. And I had this idea of doing a book club with the horses, or at least out with the farm, and kind of working that in. So I'm going to schedule that. Of course, I have to finish reading the book, but I will do that. And the other workshop that I want to do is, it's a lot of it is sparked by Harley and his message. And it's going to have a lot to do with circles, because that's the circle of trust was one of his great gifts to me, and I think mine to him too. And so we're going to really anchor in to a word or phrase of power for ourselves, and there'll be exercises to do that, and some time with the horses to help really feel that we're connected to what we choose, and then we're going to stamp a washer bracelet. And I don't quite know how we're going to make the bands and stuff, but those are things that I will all figure out. So I think I'm going to coin a new phrase for myself, and instead of hiding or shrinking or whatever, it's going to be forcepping. So I'm not going to forcep. I will schedule those things and just post in here to hold myself accountable that I have done that. And I just encourage you to hold open those spaces for you, because I know we have a lot of creative people in here, and some people that also are in business for themselves, and a very soul and heart-centered focus to all of that. So here's to holding space and gently pushing our edges and sharing all the goodness that we have outward with the world. So I hope you have a great day, and I will post in here by Friday. Bye.